Welcome to today's information session for our advanced program in sustainable management here at UC Berkeley Extension. My name is David Brotherton, and I'm the program director. And I wanted to welcome everyone and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to learn more about our program today. A little bit more background on myself. I have an undergraduate degree in atmospheric science, and then I went on to complete an MBA in finance and strategy. And then in 2010, I completed a master's degree in carbon management at the University of Edinburgh. And then I stayed on as a teaching fellow and taught for the next 3 years, teaching master's and undergraduate level courses in sustainable business management, carbon accounting, and climate change science and policy. So, in addition to managing the program here at Extension, I also have the pleasure of teaching on it as well. I teach a course currently called Carbon Management and Business Strategy, and I'll discuss that class a little bit later in the program today. Really, climate change and sustainability are really my true passions, and so I'm really pleased to have the opportunity to discuss our program over the next half hour or so. And I wanted to let everybody know that if you have any questions that come up throughout the session, please feel free to submit those. We'll try to answer those throughout the program, and then also we'll have time at the end for a little question and answer session. And I wanted to start with an introduction to UC Berkeley Extension. This will be especially helpful for anyone who has not taken courses with us previously. And then we'll spend some time discussing the program itself, the program structure, and the core classes, and how to register and complete the program. I'll also talk about who our typical students are. And as part of the program benefits section, we'll dedicate some time to talk about kind of the value added and why you would want to complete the program based on the various career objectives that you may have. Today, we will start with an introduction to UC Berkeley Extension, and this will especially be helpful for anyone who is new to Extension and hasn't taken any classes with us previously. I will then spend some time discussing the program itself, the program structure, the core classes, how to register and complete the certificate program. Then I'll talk a little bit about who our typical students are, kind of part of the program benefits, and then at the end, we'll dedicate some time to address any specific questions you might have. And again, at any time during the information session, please feel free to type and submit any of your questions, and we'll attempt to answer them throughout the session or at the end of the session. Our program and curriculum are academically rigorous. All certificate and professional programs are approved by UC Berkeley main campus and reviewed every 5 years with an advisory board comprised of a UC Berkeley faculty member, in addition to UC Berkeley Extension instructor and numerous executive level industry practitioners and thought leaders. We carry the same accreditation as campus through the Western Association of Schools and Colleges, and all students completing certificates through Extension must successfully complete all relevant coursework with a grade of C or better, and also finish with at least a 2.5 grade point average to be awarded a certificate. We will now spend the remainder of the session discussing our advanced program in sustainable management. And I'm really excited about the program. It was recently updated, and this is our flagship sustainability and environment program here at Berkeley Extension. And really, from the beginning, we set out to design a program that is really centered around flexibility, and a program which not only meets the needs of our students, but more importantly, meets the demands of employers. And the field is really rapidly changing, so it's critical that we deliver a curriculum that has state-of-the-art and cutting-edge content. For example, in my carbon management and business strategy course, I spend dozens and dozens of hours every time I teach the course, updating and revising content and creating new case studies or revising the case studies that I've used in the past. And our team of dedicated instructors very much do the same thing in their classes. And this is one of the true strengths of our program. Our program also covers such a wide array of skill sets. So everything from creating greenhouse gas inventories to managing emissions within an organization, sustainability reporting, we have classes, and you can choose to learn, how to develop sustainability strategies and how to actually implement those strategies within an organization. Our program also offers courses that will, keep you abreast of the myriad of environmental laws and regulations that also are constantly changing. So, in addition to our superb educational content, we also recognize that given the diverse nature of the industry, it's imperative to allow our students the individual, liberties to choose the courses which best fit your interest and career objectives. I know we were just discussing program flexibility, but we do believe this is one of the critical components of our program at Berkeley Extension. In the most recent program review, for example, we reached out to over 500 past and present students. And this point was something that they felt was really important. This ability to forge your own path and pick the classes that best fit your needs was something that was identified as very important. Another key component of our program is that our instructors are industry practitioners. And in many cases, they'll have decades of experience to draw from, not just in their class specifically, but across a wide array of sustainability and environment topics. Our courses are also interactive and focus more on applied learning. While they're still academically rigorous, you will feel that you'll get quite a different experience in our course versus typical undergraduate or graduate course, which tends to be very much theory based. It's also important to note that our program is not cohort based, so you'll be able to complete all the courses at your own pace, and you'll have the opportunity to meet new individuals in each course that you take. And so this creates quite a good networking opportunity. You'll meet dozens of people, in our classes, and you can share their insights and perspectives, drawing from examples in their own careers. And despite the fact that individuals do work in these wide-ranging industries and sectors within the sustainability space, we're also tackling a lot of the same issues and complying with many of the same regulations. So, learning experiences from the diverse perspectives, it also creates and enhances the educational experience for everyone. Our courses and program are open for enrollment, so there's no formal application process. We encourage everyone just to start with the class, see how it fits for you, and then formally enroll in the program once you feel that it's the right fit for you. And we'll discuss the certificate enrollment process here in a few minutes. And I would also encourage everyone to ask their supervisor or human resource representative about your company's educational and training benefits packages. Many of our students receive either full or partial reimbursement for the courses in our program. The program comprises a total of 8 semester units of core courses. And these courses are either a 1 semester unit or 2 semester units in length. A 1 semester unit equates to 15 instructional hours in the classroom. So typically, students take between 5 to 7 courses to complete the entire program. If you take one course per term, or maybe even 2 courses in the spring, given that it runs, from January to June, so it's our longest term, you could expect to finish the program anywhere between 12 to 18 months. Here's a list of all of our program's core courses. Again, our program was designed with trying to have the curriculum centered around flexibility. So we've shifted away from the program design that just includes required classes or even required and elective classes combined. We found that our students possess a diverse array of prior work experience and educational experiences already. So the rationale was just to let individuals self-select the courses that best fit their career objectives, interests, maybe their educational gaps that they want to fill. So in practice, this just means you're not going to be obliged to take any one particular course. So if you already have a degree in environmental science, you might not find it valuable to take our Introduction to Climate Change, Environment, and Sustainability class. But while we don't have any specific required courses per se, if you're someone who's transitioning careers or kind of lack a really strong foundation in climate change and sustainability, I would advise you to begin with that intro course I mentioned, or our Principles of Sustainability, that course. Those are both high-level overview courses. Our program offers kind of a nice balance of the fundamental courses that we just discussed, and then also we have kind of another suite of classes that broadly cover policy and environmental law. And this particular area of policy and regulation, it's critical to pretty much all businesses within this space, and those are very valuable classes for our students to take. And then lastly, we kind of have a course a bundle of courses that are centered around kind of business related topics. So focused on everything from developing a sustainability initiative and strategies, and then how to implement those within an organization. And actually, that brings up a really wonderful class I wanted to point out. We have a class called Managing Sustainable Change in an Organization. And this course leverages many of the concepts from organizational management theory and change theory. Comes more from the traditional business school curriculum. But this course is taught and specifically caters to the unique challenges of sustainability initiatives. And it offers insights on how do you gain in institutional buy-in to potentially implement a new program. And it's taught by an expert with a proven track record in this area. And she also recently authored a book called The Great Pivot, Creating Meaningful Work to Build a Sustainable Future. So I would definitely suggest you check that out. Lastly, we have practical courses with corporate bends. One course in particular I wanted to mention was our Sustainable Supply Chain Management course. That's a fantastic course. And then I also teach a class, Carbon Management and Business Strategy, which I mentioned a couple times earlier. And these courses are focused pretty much on the key reasons why organizations engage in sustainability related issues in the first place. While some carbon intensive firms, let's say a steel or cement producers, they already have regulatory obligations with their emissions reduction measures for their operations in various geographic locations that have mandatory compliance regulations. Take California or the European Union, for example. Other firms, they might just be seeking to disruptively innovate in a new, greener space and new green products in traditional industries. Think of companies like Tesla or Beyond Meat. Some companies may primarily be driven by brand image. So so my course it kind of explores this nexus of sustainability and the realities within the business world, and sometimes they're harsh realities of project finance and cost of capital. And it's very important to understand these rules of the game that you're playing, because your approach on how you would position a new sustainability idea, for example, would have a much greater chance of being adopted if these considerations were taken in the first place. And while we don't have time to cover all the courses that we offer, I would encourage everyone to visit our website to find out more about any individual courses. You can read the course descriptions and see which courses are currently available for enrollment. We typically offer anywhere between 3 to 5 courses each term for you to take. Many of our classes are typically held in a classroom setting, either in the Golden Bear Center in downtown Berkeley or the San Francisco campus off of Spear Street in downtown San Francisco. Each are located conveniently just a few blocks from the downtown Berkeley BART and San Francisco BART, respectively. During the COVID situation, we have shifted classroom instruction to live online, and that's held via Zoom. And we use a learning management system called Canvas, which we use for all of our typical online classes. So the classes have a lot of structure, and there's a lot of tools on Zoom that instructors can use and students also can use together to try to make the virtual experience as interactive as possible and as much like that classroom setting as possible. So for fall of 2020, all classroom courses have shifted live online, and you'll see that denoted on our website when you look at courses. As far as spring 2021, that decision has not been made. I would just encourage you to either check your email. We'll send updates to all students, or you can check our website for the most up-to-date information on live online classes. And we also have some classes that will be denoted as fixed date online. Those are traditional online classes that are asynchronous in their delivery format. They have set start and end dates, and also set dates for assessments to be submitted. So while it's kind of doing it at your own pace, you still follow a structured schedule in those classes as well. So it became very clear from much of our internal research that we conducted, in addition to the research from our student survey, which we sent to hundreds of past and present students. And that was that our program attracts a very wide array of industry practitioners. Our students are employed in roles ranging from, environmental consultants, which happens to be the largest subset. But we also found many worked in the broader sustainability business roles. So think of individuals that have embedded sustainability components in their jobs in marketing or operations or supply chain management or procurement or energy management. Our program also attracts many dedicated CSR and sustainability managers, and they're often tasked with kind of integrating sustainable solutions within the many divisions across the company. And we also find we have some policymakers, environmental specialists, urban planners, people transitioning, trying to get into the field. So our program, you'll see everyone across the spectrum. We have a nice, mix of students also who work within the private sector or NGOs or in the public sector at, all levels from municipal to county to state or national levels. And, kind of in addition to the diverse roles which our students are employed within, our students come from a variety of educational backgrounds. So they represent a number of different, diverse industrial segments and in all different points in their careers as well. We have students with decades of industry experience, and we have people who are brand new and just trying to break into the industry and, fresh out of undergrad. You'll find that many individuals love their jobs and, are seeking more knowledge and skills to become, maybe the point person within their organization. So we'll have lawyers or facility managers who want to expand opportunities within their respective companies that take our program. We even had a middle school teacher who was seeking to integrate sustainability within all their school's curriculum to kind of plant this seed early on in the student's education. And we truly believe that one of the biggest strengths of our program is its diversity. Students have the opportunity to learn from one another, and given the unique perspective that each individual brings to the course, that provides real value. And before we move on to the question and answer section, I wanted to address how to register and earn an award of completion. We encourage everyone to enroll in the program when you feel it's right for you, because the certificate registration fee is non-refundable. And we also encourage everyone to register for the program prior to completing your third course. And this just provides that in case the program does change, it kind of locks in the requirements of the current program. And to earn a certificate, all the courses you take must be taken for letter grade, and you must earn a C or better and finish with at least 2.5 grade point average. And you will need to notify the academic department after receiving your final course grade in order to have your certificate processed.
Now we'll move on to the question and answer component of the online information session. So one of the questions that came in was asking if there's a specific order in which any courses need to be taken. And the answer to this question is no, there is not any specific order. None of the classes are prerequisites for any of the classes. So you can truly take them in any order that you see fit. Like I mentioned earlier in the presentation, it is really important if you're relatively new to the industry, or if it's been a considerable amount of time since you've last taken a class in the environmental realm, you might want to start with our Introduction to Climate Change, Environment, and Sustainability class. That course would be a really good overview and refresher for anyone new. It also, the field changes so rapidly in this space that if you've been away for a while, it is quite valuable to take a class like that as a refresher. I can also speak to the class that I teach, our Carbon Management and Business Strategy class. I had taken about a 3-year gap in teaching that class from when I last taught it at my previous employer at the University of Edinburgh in the UK. And whenever I had to prep that class to teach it again, it took an enormous amount of time updating all of the content, because this is a very fast-moving industry. Another question that came in that's quite common is asking if you can substitute another class for our program, another UC Berkeley Extension class. So yes, the short answer to this, you can. It has to be done with departmental approval prior to actually taking the class. So if you see another class that you feel would provide a lot of value, for example, maybe there's a class in project management, or maybe a design related class, or some other environment class that isn't formally part of this program, yes, you can substitute those. You just need to do it with permission. Another kind of related question has to do with whether you can transfer in any other academic credit from another institution. Yes, you can, but the caveat here is it must be a very similar class to an existing class that you're trying to transfer it in for, and you also must have gotten a B or better in the class and taken it within the last 5 years. And you should also bring any transfer requests to the department prior to registering for the program. Another question that came in is asking about what to expect in the classroom if you haven't taken a class for a number of years. And this is quite common. This is what a lot of extension classes are designed around. UC Berkeley Extension is the division of the university that focuses on professional and continuing education. So a number of our students that are coming to Extension, not just in this program, but all of our other programs, are often coming in after a long break from formally taking their last higher education class. So we realize that. And not only are most of our students working professionals, most of our instructors are also working professionals or practitioners in the field. So they're also quite cognizant of this issue. So I would say what to expect in some of our classes. The big difference will be they'll feel quite different than undergraduate classes. So it'll be much more practitioner focused, much more group focused. So we'll have a lot of class participation. We'll want to extract the value of all of the experiences a lot of our students bring to the classroom, because unlike undergraduate classes, the classes you'll take at Extension, you'll be sharing your experiences with different classmates who have been working often in the field for a number of years. So yeah, we'll have quite a different feel than your typical undergraduate class. And our instructors are also obviously cognizant of students who haven't been in the classroom for a while. And so any of those concerns should be allayed. That's kind of how our classes are focused, and that's kind of our expertise. Another question was asking what type of time commitment is required outside of class. And really the answer to this, it varies considerably across different courses. It also can depend on the format of the class. So if you take a typical 2-semester unit, 30-hour class, and it's spaced over a 10-week period, you'll sometimes have an opportunity to spend more time thinking about the readings, contemplating everything. You'll have more time to do homework to bring back to class over that 10-week period. Where if you're in a condensed kind of force consecutive Saturdays all day on a Saturday, you're compressing that time frame considerably from 10 weeks down to 4 weeks. So if you're taking classes on that more condensed time format, you might be expected to do a little bit more work in that time frame. Speaking to the class that I teach specifically, I would estimate that you would have to contribute about an additional 1 to 2 hours outside the class relative to each class hour that we meet. So there are pre-readings, and in my class we had a final project that was due several weeks after the class finished. So that did allow that extra time for you to really digest all the course content and material, and then have an opportunity to finish a final project. Another question that came in talked about, what's the value of the program, and will it really help you transition into a new career? So if you currently don't work in the field, a program like ours would be, very beneficial in kind of accelerating or allowing for you to make a transition into the field. I would really just think about and consider the other skills that you're bringing from your career when you're making a transition. So that's usually something that I will consult and talk to students about. So let's say you've worked, as an operations manager in a company for a number of years. If you're wanting to kind of make a career transition where you want a sustainably focused career, then you might be well suited, in a job in sustainable supply chain, or potentially as a sustainability manager who has an expertise in the operations of industries. If you've worked in the past in public relations, for example, you might be better suited in kind of a green marketing or more of a CSR role. So it really just depends on what skills you're also bringing prior from your career, layering on all the value you get from our program, and then taking it back out to the marketplace and trying to get a new job. Oftentimes, you'll want to try to leverage some of your previous experience. Another question that was presented by one of the participants asked about what type of career guidance that the UC Berkeley Extension, or our program specifically, provides. So usually the short answer to this is, unfortunately, as in Extension, we don't have really high course fees. It's not we don't have quite the resources that main campus would have, or if you were in a dedicated master's level program. So most of the value, the career related value of our program comes from the networks that you'll build within our classes. And like I mentioned this before and touched on it in the presentation, you'll have the opportunity to meet dozens of different practitioners from all different facets in the industry. And also you can leverage some of the networks you get through our instructors themselves, who often have worked in the industry for decades. Speaking to a class that I recently taught, it had more than a dozen individuals in it, and literally there were students from virtually every conceivable background in that class. So when we did group work together, you could really tell that students would feed off one another and share their experiences from different perspectives. So the networking, there's a lot of group work that goes on in our program, which really kind of helps facilitate that networking process. But I would say that's really the biggest component of a kind of career enhancement opportunity through our program, as we don't have a formal department set up for career guidance. Another question came in asking about when you can enroll for classes and when you'll see classes available for future terms. I would always advise to go to our website, and that will show the most up-to-date class availability of all the classes that are offered. We typically will post new classes at least 8 to 10 weeks before a new session starts. So if, for example, if our fall session would be starting at the beginning of September, usually at least 10 weeks prior to that, we will have all the classes available for the fall session. And the same, spring term typically starts January 1, and our summer term starts on June 1. So you can always expect that we'll have those classes available. And our spring term is the longest term, so it goes from January to June. So in that time, you'll have typically the most classes available for enrollment. And you can often take more than one class in a term and not have any of your classes overlap. So that can actually help you finish the program a bit faster. And I mentioned earlier in the presentation that our typical student takes between 1 to 2 years to finish the program. And that's if you're taking, one class per term, or maybe even 2 in the spring. You can finish in that time frame. Well, it looks like that is all the questions that came in for today's session. If any additional questions were to arise in the future that you'd like to have answered, please don't hesitate to contact the department. Our contact information is available on the final slide. I would also encourage everyone to review the program page on our website. You can explore the program. You can look to enroll in any upcoming courses. We have course descriptions for all the courses. If you'd like, further information on any particular one, you can feel free to reach out to the department. We'll be happy to provide any additional information. And again, I wanted to thank everyone for taking your time and learning more about the program. And I hope to see someone enrolled in a future class here at Berkeley Extension. Thank you very much.